Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for attending the webinar tonight. I think the main objective of this webinar is to make it clear to people where we are as far as the two transactions that are on our table at the moment that need to be resolved by the liquidators, potential liquidation and liquidators. The first of those is the MTI provisional liquidation, which has a return date in the future. And then also the next thing is to clarify the situation as far as the finalmente liquidation which has taken place. The one is a provisional liquidation, the other one is a company that has been placed in liquidation. If you need clarity on that, I suggest that you ask us and we can tell you what the differences are. But in the one, there is now an order for winding up, and the other one, there is a potential order for winding up. So that's where that is at the moment. The other thing, the main reason for this webinar is that we want to make it very clear to people that you don't sign away your right to claim. Because once you start signing powers of attorney to some strange solicitor firms and outside organizations that are not part of the liquidation process, then in the end, what happens is you sign your rights away for somebody to act on your behalf. Once you've signed your rights away for somebody to act on your behalf, you lose the right in terms of what you are going to get back, because that person who has your power of attorney can literally take hold of those funds, put those funds in his own account, and then decide what he's going to pay you back, and you've got another fight on your hands. That's the last thing you want to do. This liquidation process is complicated enough without you introducing other parties into this. And that's what we see now. You've got people who are sitting on the outside who have not been or not signed in as liquidators at the moment and haven't been appointed by the court and are not participating in this, and they are trying to muscle their way into this. And then all they're going to do is disrupt the whole thing at this stage, create havoc for the actual liquidators who are trying to deal with this in the best interest of everybody. And then in the end, you're going to charge up run up additional costs for the present creditors who haven't participated in this signing away of their rights, and you're making it more expensive for yourself as well, because you are going to be charged for those costs which you don't need to go into. So what I want to do, and I'm just going to ask Henrik, he's very kindly come on this evening purely from a legal standpoint to verify the situation as far as the requirement of signing a power of attorney to somebody who is outside the process. Please, 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 please remember, there are people in this process, people who are appointed by the liquidators, advocates and solicitors who are part of the process. They know what needs to happen. And Henrik is one of the people participating on behalf and working on behalf of the appointed liquidators. So Henrik, maybe you can just clarify that point for us.
Okay, Chris. So for clarity, currently we are in that part of the liquidation process with MTI, where the liquidators, as soon as they receive the certificate, they will take control over all the assets and the managing of MTI, which include that they will bring out a claim form, which will give the opportunity for MTI investors to claim the money they've invested back. What I need to stress is, once that court order was granted, the day it was granted is the day on which you must use the value when you firstly going to claim back your Bitcoin. But I would also just want to bring it to everyone's attention that any claim process or putting in of a claim with the liquidators has been appointed is for free. You don't have to pay anything. Secondly, you don't need to grant a power of attorney to someone to be able to recover your investment on your behalf. If you give a power of attorney to anyone now, it means that that person has got the full right to decide to what to do with your power of attorney of appointment, which either you can be that they want to change any of the liquidators, then they can vote them in or vote out the current liquidators. Or if it is that you agree to any funds fees agreement, then it can be that you will be eligible to pay any such attorneys for any costs they might have to ensure that they put your claim forward. So people must take care what documents they sign, and they must make sure that there's no need for them to pay additional funds with the appointed liquidators. And then if it's possible to bring in additional liquidators by law, which can be voted in during the first meeting. But if that person is not going to be someone who's experienced, it won't be in the best interest necessarily of the investors to bring in and vote out appointed liquidator. But it is all up to the investors. They must make their own decision. I cannot say what I may not do, but I can only advise you as what I can do in accordance with the law.
I think the most important thing here is at this stage, it's really difficult for everybody to understand that we just have to sit tight and allow the liquidators and the advocates and the solicitors who are actually involved in the whole transaction, for them to set up the conduits and methods for the investors to get their information in and to start negotiating and discussing with them about the transaction and what's going on. And that is happening as we speak. They are formulating a structure which will be set up and will be communicated by us to everybody. I've also seen that people are saying they don't know who the appointed liquidators are. We will get an official document put together from the liquidators and advocates and the solicitors so that you know who to contact for what and who they are, and then you can choose which one of those you want to contact. But please, I cannot stress enough, do not sign any powers of attorney at this stage. And if you've been taken into that situation, I would suggest that we will also do is we will create a document of what you can use to rescind, in other words, withdraw those powers because they are not necessary. Okay, Hendrik, I don't know if you need to add anything to that. I'm not saying that what I said is correct unless you see there's a glaring error there. But I think at this stage of the game, I know you've got a lot of things to do still this evening. Do you have any other questions you think you might want to field or any comments you'd like to make?
No, Chris, I'm happy. And I'm going to withdraw now and leave the Zoom meeting in your capable hands.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All of the best. Go well. Bye.
And thank you, sir. Okay, so if I can just go over the summary there. At this stage of the game, and this is a discussion I had with the liquidators today, and what we've been talking about actually over the weekend. The reason we called this webinar, because we were seeing that there were two companies out there currently asking you one of them is just asking you for money and then an affidavit, and the other one is asking you for money and a power of attorney. Now, there is no money involved in getting your claim submitted at this stage. You don't need to do that. The other thing too is your claim is not due for submission yet because the liquidators are still busy, how can I say, putting together the assets and sorting out where the funds are and where they are going to come to. The more we at this stage push on the liquidators, they're not in a position to actually deal with the claims just yet. Not that they won't be, but they aren't. They have to get everything put together. And these other people that are coming in are opportunists who are trying to disrupt this whole thing, and to try and put themselves in a financial beneficial position because they were not chosen to be part of that actual team. If you give them powers of attorney, they can act and create costs for the investors who are going to just have to follow the normal process, and you are going to end up creating costs for yourself that are not necessary. You do not need to make any payments to get your claim submitted at this stage of the game. That might be slightly different for overseas people, but we are working to get nominated lawyers or lawyers that know the system that are talking to us at the moment, to set them up so that they can take your claims and verify your claims through their processes in their individual countries. And we will publish all of that on our website so that all the people out there can know, first of all, who are the liquidators that have been appointed by the court, who are the liquidators that are dealing with this whole case at the moment, who are the advocates and the solicitors who are busy looking after your interests and who you can deal with directly. So please just be at peace with us. Don't throw away your right to claim and give it to somebody else, because effectively signing that power of attorney you end up in that situation.